The new Superman film is here, and with it the second and already far more successful attempt at a DC cinematic universe. But what if, even after that Iggy Pop needle drop, you weren't satisfied, so you must simply become the Man of Steel himself? Fear not, dear viewer, despite my name, you're in the right place. Here are the 5 best Superman VR games you can play right now. I wouldn't say Clark Kent is as broke as Peter Parker, though he is a journalist with integrity, but if you have less money than both of them, Untangled is the game for you. This completely free game for Quest 2 and 3 is probably most famous for its Spider-Man powers, but looking deeper, that's not the only kind it offers. You can unlock super speed and flight through completing these quest lines. Invulnerable tasks you with finding a top secret research module hidden in New Web City, and when you bring it back to him, you'll unlock the flight powers. Switch them on in the power wheel, stick out your hands and hold the triggers. You'll be shot forward with a burst of speed. I quite enjoy this flight system, despite it being simple. New Web City is fairly big, and you can switch to a different map if you get bored. I'm not sure why you would though, since it's the only one with enemies to fight. These guys are more suited to Spider-Man powers because there's no special moves you can do with them, but I'd rather have them here than not at all. Plus, with Untangled's multiplayer, you can probably chain together some crazy combos with different powers. But if you really want a fleshed out Superman combat experience, consider this next game. Demigod is a superhero simulator that you can pick up on Quest 2 and 3 for about $20 US. It has a range of power sets that emulate famous super people. Since the game lets you use 2 power sets at once, we can actually fully emulate Superman's abilities, and even don the suit with mods. To do this, you'll want to put the strength power on your dominant hand. It's the one with the broken circle logo. Cycle through the abilities until you hit laser eyes, which activates heat vision when you double tap and hold the trigger. If you press the jump button once and then again while in midair, you'll initiate flight. Unlike Untangled's head-based movement, this utilizes the thumbstick, allowing for finer control in exchange for a bit more of a learning curve. Now, in your offhand, enable the Flames power set. When placed in front of your face, this flamethrower makes a pretty good double for ice breath. But you'll no doubt have noticed that none of these powers are the right color. To fix this, we can go into the power customization menu. I made my laser eyes bright red and changed the flamethrower to an icy blue. And there you go. Now you can use your unique power set to take on a gallery of foes. This giant insect monster was added to the game a little while ago, and while I didn't really enjoy fighting it with Spider-Man powers, heat vision, super strength, and flight make for a different story completely. But nothing comes close to the fun of battling nano cyborgs. These things will fly in the air with you, hurling energy and concussive blasts. And if you're not a fan of the default skin, you can even mod them to look like Darkseid, Omni-Man, or Invincible, among others. With all that said though, I find Demigod's flight system to be a little bit lackluster. It feels slower and floatier than other offerings on this list. On top of that, Superman is supposed to save people, and there's no way we can do that here. But there is another game where that is possible, if you're willing to stretch the definition of Superman VR a little bit. That is right. For the same price as Demigod, BattleGlide is one of the most popular Spider-Man VR games out on Quest headsets right now. I mean, no one's looking at this gameplay and mistaking it for Batman. It seems though, with a little bit of jerry-rigging, we can turn it into something super. Normally, you'd use your rope launchers to swing through BattleGlide's city, but there's actually a secret second mode of traversal, although presumably unintended. What you need to do is grab any kind of prop, then use your offhand to web said prop and drag the web to the sky. If you've done everything right, you'll be lifted off the ground in an exponentially speeding zoom. You're flying, but so fast you might soon find yourself outside of the map. For that reason, it's probably best to use this glitch sparingly. If you float around for long enough, one of BattleGlide's random petty crimes will eventually occur. In a couple of them, you can save your fellow human. In this one, a group of goons has taken an innocent person hostage on a rooftop, so it's your job to swoop in and rescue them. You can stop this runaway van, using your super strength to flip it over and leave it for the police. Or liberate hostages in stealth missions, though it might be a little bit harder to fly around in here. You can take this a step further by activating taser webs and using the menu to dye them red. This is BattleGlide's closest substitute for heat vision. But with Untangled's simplicity, Demigod's mediocrity, and BattleGlide's justifiable apathy when it comes to flight powers, I bet you've noticed the pattern. Luckily for us, there's one game I believe does Superman-style flight justice. If you pardon the pun. This is a game I've wanted to talk about for ages now. Megaton Rainfall is a flat game with optional VR support, available for about $16 US on PC and PlayStation. You play as an all-powerful being, probably even more powerful than Superman, and are tasked with protecting the Earth from alien intruders. There is a brief story that unravels over the game's missions, but I didn't find it particularly noteworthy. I too felt that way about the game's combat. In VR mode, the gestures you need to do for different attacks can be pretty finicky, making the insane power you have feel a lot less usable. If you can get past that barrier though, you can literally blow planets up. It's crazy. But what captivates me about MTR isn't any of that. Instead, it's the game's masterful exploration. As you progress, you unlock faster and faster flight. Eventually, you're able to leave the Earth's orbit, then leave the solar system, and finally depart the Milky Way galaxy and make tracks towards another one. And inside these other galaxies are complete star systems with other planets to explore, or destroy. You can even find black holes, but I won't spoil what happens when you go inside one. Look, I mean, realistically speaking, this is probably the sort of thing Superman would be doing if he was bored. If I could, I know I would. You can explore the universe like this in Space Engine VR, but that comes with a scientific sort of feeling, like you're looking at a model. MTR's take on the idea feels a lot more human scale, which is what makes it so enrapturing and cosmically unsettling. This should be the baseline for all future Superman-style VR games. And notice I said Superman style, because like Spider-Man VR games, there's almost no hope for an official one. That is, unless you don't want to count this. Superman 64 is notoriously one of the worst games ever made, with god-awful controls, countless glitches, and a depressingly pervasive green fog. Released in 1999 for one of the earliest 3D gaming consoles, the Nintendo 64, it's hard to imagine a universe where this game was ever good, but this guy on itch.io made it his imperative to do just that. If you knew about this game before I just told you about it, then the image of ring mazes likely sprung to your mind. It's only fitting then that that be the portion ported to VR, thankfully for free, on PC and on Quest. As you can imagine, motion controls lend themselves far better to flight than whatever the hell the N64 remote was. For that reason, what was a rage quit inspiring sequence in the original was an enjoyable 15 minutes for me. It sees Lex Luthor kidnap your friends and trap them in this weird virtual reality simulation, and being Superman, it's up to you to free them. Logically, of course, that task boiled down to completing a ring maze, saving random pedestrians from oncoming vehicles, and then completing yet another ring maze. Lex is then miraculously defeated, and after that, you're free to roam around Metropolis, which was apparently impossible in the original game. To play this on Quest, you'll need to sideload the APK after downloading it from itch.io, and that's like a whole procedure, so I've left a link to a tutorial in the description. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. I usually make videos about Spider-Man VR games, but you'll probably like them too.